Okay, so we're going to start looking at module number 5. Module number 5, as you can see here, it's an application and it's going to be using an assembly called the machine vise. If you've had me in tech drafting last term, this looks familiar, okay, because it is the same assembly that we looked at the end of that course, but now we're going to be creating it in Creo. For those who didn't have me, that's okay. It's a great project. It's comprehensive. We get a look at a lot of different features, but it gives us the experience of making individual parts, detailed drawings, and then also putting it together in an assembly. Since we've been working on detailed drawings right now, I want to kind of stay on that subject and get additional practice. And then we're also going to be using this assembly, get some more mileage out of it, and then put the assembly together as well. So where we're going to start is going to be on the learning plan, which you see there. Now, for those who aren't in the room, there is, as we look here, it says follow along and fill in the dimensions, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But on page 687 in your tech drafting or tech drawing book, it's the 15th edition, you will find this machinist vise on that page. Now, I realize that there are some people who transfer, maybe have a different edition, it's maybe not on the same page. So I do have the copy here in PDF form for you to reference if needed, but it's also in your textbook, okay? So, so this is going to be the assembly that we're looking at. You'll notice that they have a nice pictorial of all the pieces together ballooned. We will be creating an assembly drawing, okay? But before we get there, we need to draw the individual parts that we see here, okay? So, so that's what I want you to get started on this evening, but there's some things I want to go over with you, okay? So, so that's going to be the sheet that is going to give us all the details for the individual parts. You'll also notice that I have for you no dimension sheets here. For those who are virtual, you would have to print these individually if you wanted to, but we're going to be looking at the individual parts and identifying dimensions that we're going to be putting on, okay? There aren't as many guides, all right? On the last assignments that you guys did in module 4, you had guides for each one. And that was to serve as kind of practice and good habits to generate and to kind of remember all the rules. But now you're going to be creating the drawings. So I wanted to take some class time today and also the next time that we meet tomorrow, I guess, and really kind of look at each one of these before we worry about putting dimensions on the actual part itself. I want you to think about what are the dimensions I actually want to put on, okay? And make sure that it's a good plan before just, you know, randomly letting Creo put the dimensions in place. And sometimes it's like, well, if it put it there, it must be where it needs to be. But remember, we're the humans with the brains, and we need to fix those up and you know, apply the standard. To keep going back in here. So these are the ones with no dimensions, just the views, okay? Now, as we look down below here, you're going to be creating the models and the corresponding detail drawings. So job number 1 is just creating the models. That's what I would do for all of the individual parts, okay? So this evening, I want you to get started on that. And then as you finish those, then you can start creating the detailed drawings. And like I said, we'll be working on some of that together in the next couple times that we're here. Now, this is important. Use the WCTC drawing borders. I have them out there for you. I'll show you what that is right now. But the next statement says you need to save each model as the part number, not the part name. So when you save it in a file, we've been always giving it like index feed or roller stud, whatever it is. We are not going to do that for this project. We are going to actually give it a part number. So I have the part numbers listed here for you. So when you look at the base is going to be 25010. If we look up here at our pictorial, the base is this biggest part right here. Okay, this is the base, number 1. And so you're not going to name it as base. You're not going to save it as base. You're going to save it as 25010. Okay? Everybody understand that. This is really important because that's how the border, the WCTC border is going to fill it in automatically for us. Okay? If you save it as the base, then where the part number goes in the title block is going to say base instead of part number. Okay? So you need to save all of these files as their part number, not their part name. Okay, and I'll give you a demo on how that works. So you're going to be saving all of these part numbers. These are the ones. Then you're going to be going through applying the tolerances as shown on all of the drawing guides below, and or like the original here. There's some tolerances that are on there. Now, I only have 3 drawing guides for you, and these are of the 3 parts that are the most complex. It's the vice screw, the sliding jaw, and the base. All the other ones you get to create. All right. Now, you have these out here, the drawing guides, and they're really there just to make sure that you're hitting all the highlights, all the basics. But if I look at, for instance, the sliding jaw, you got to make a section view. You've got to add all the drawings. Here are add all the dimensions. And if you do decide to do it and lay it out a little differently, that's okay. As long as number one, you can find me a place where you can say in the standard, it says I can do it like this, or I see an example where it's like this, that's fine. This isn't the only way you can dimension it, but if you're not exactly sure, don't go rogue, okay? Don't be like, I think it looks better like this. That's not a good reason. It has to be that you're abiding by the standard, okay? Call outs as well. Creo is going to make their own generic call out. They're also going to, especially when you have like threaded holes, they're going to call it out with lowercase letters. We're not doing that. You have to then redo the note, either delete it and then go over the top of it or change it. Okay. So, so make sure that you're abiding by all of the good drawing standards. Let me get back in there. So you're going to create the models, then you're going to start the detailed drawings. You're going to save these models as their part number, okay? You're going to submit all the details to assignments 9, 10, and 11. I have it separated into 3 different assignments only because I didn't want to have all 10 drawings on one for me to look at, and also for you to submit and to have to try to sift through. And if there's anything that needs to be changed, I think it's easier to look at like 3 and 4 at a time. Okay. So what you need to do is pay attention to which drawings go on which assignment. We'll look at that in just a bit. Then we're going to be creating the assembly model and the corresponding assembly drawing. We'll be looking at the assembly model and doing assemblies next week. Okay, we're going to stick in module 6 here, but it's going to take us a little bit longer to go through. I want us to get this practice on the details first. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today and tomorrow. Use the WCTC borders again, save that assembly as its part number, which is going to be 25,000. That's going to be the machine vise assembly. Apply the standards. You're going to be adding a bill of material, balloons, and again, I'll be demonstrating all of that for you. And then here's the guide of what the assembly drawing is going to look like. We are going to have to add a section view to it so that we can see the internal pieces so that we can balloon them. And then you're going to be adding a bill of material and such. Okay, so we'll focus on those details. Don't even think about that just yet. We haven't gotten quite that far. And then you'll be submitting those to assignment number 12. So let's look at the assignments. Yeah, it does. It does. So I'll release these now. So now they're going to become available. So if we look at assignment number 9, okay, assignment number 9, you guys should all see it now. You'll notice that the 3 drawings that you're going to put on there, the 3 details are going to be the base, the sliding jaw, and the vice screw. Just those 3. Don't put all 10 in here. And then you're going to notice that when we go to assignment number 10, it's going to be another 3. And then there's going to be 4 on the very last one. So please pay attention to which ones go where. Don't try to just put them, willy-nilly. It'll just be easier for me to correct. Okay. It says here, follow the instructions during the lecture. I'm going to be showing you how to hand these in as PDFs. You guys have been doing screenshots, all right? We are actually going to be creating the PDF out of the print command. And that's what I want you to upload, because then it's like official. It's got like all the, it looks better, it looks more official, and it's like print ready. So, so I'll show you how to do that once we start getting in there and looking. Points will be deducted for not following the directions. There are some updates that are going to be pointed out by the instructor. Okay, so make sure that you're following along, especially when I'm talking about these things and how to submit. Points will be deducted if you don't apply the ANSI standard 2018 to the drafting standards. So again, if you're not exactly sure how to do it, number one, ask. Okay. Number two, look to chapter 11 in your tech drafting book, or to the things that we had talked about in module number 4. Okay. And if you don't see them there as examples, then it's probably not something that's going to conform to the standard. Okay. And then you just got to kind of figure out a way to do it. So, so keep that in mind. Any questions so far as we're kind of looking at the assignment itself? All right. Right now on the calendar, I think I have these due next week, Friday. Okay. Yeah. You'll see them out there here on December 1st. And this is going to be assignment 10, 11, and I think this should be 9. Yeah. 9, 10, and 11 are out there. Okay. So next week, Friday, not this week, Friday. So we've got plenty of time to work on it. So going back in to the class, let's look again at the modules. Now, up here at the top of the modules, I think it's the 4th module down right before we get into our modules 1, 2, 3, and 4 and such. You'll notice that I have a new folder out here, and this is WCTC Creo Drawing Borders. Okay, Creo Drawing Borders. Now, when we go in here, and I don't want you to do this right now. Do not do this right now. But can I have everybody's attention? You'll notice that there are 3 format. That's what the FRM. There's an A size format, a B size format, and an A4, which would be a metric. These have to be in the same directory as your drawing files. These are what we call templates. Okay. So there's an A template that's a 2 view, an A template that's a 3 view. And what it does is when you pull the template in, it's going to automatically drop down your 2 views. You won't have to create them, or your 3 views. Okay. You would have to add an isometric view, but the other ones are going to be laid out for you. And here's the B size for our machine vise. You're going to need to download the A and the B borders for the formats, and the A and the B templates. They need to be in the same directory as all of your drawings. So like I said from the beginning, just keep dumping them in that working directory that you've been putting them in. Resist the urge to be super organized. Please don't be doing it right now. You'll do it later. Okay. So those have to be in there. If you only download the templates and not the format, it's going to be like something, you're going to get an error when you try to do it. There's 2 parts to that whenever you have borders. Okay. So let's take a peek at this then. I'm going to do a demo. Please do not follow along with me right now. It's not the time. I want you to just watch. Let me go into Creo. It's going to take just a minute to open up here. I'm going to show you how these drawing borders work on just a generic file. Okay. Hope that's not a problem. So we're going to go in just like we normally do, set our working directory. Okay. And then I'm going to start new. I'm going to start with a part file, very simple, but I'm going to put down here a part file, like a part number. Okay. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Nothing in common name. And then I'm just going to use the default template. I'm going into a part right now and I'm creating a solid part. And I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I'm going to do an extrude. I'm going to define my front plane here, sketch, and I'm just going to put a circle right on the center here. And I'm going to dimension it, and we'll say it's a 5-inch circle. That's it. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to give it a depth of 1 inch. Okay. Okay. Simple part. Okay. Part number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to do a file, save, should go to my working directory. Here we are. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to be pulling in my WCTC border. I'm going to be putting it on a border. So I'm going to start a new drawing. I'm going to go to file, and it's going to be new. Now, remember, you don't have to have your part open in order to create the drawing. It's just that it's here. It's gonna be just a little bit more convenient. But this time I'm gonna create a drawing, and I am gonna say default drawing model is the file name. The file name is gonna be the part number in my drawing border. So click that, all right? And then I don't want to use the default template, and I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to get to this part. Now here is where I would normally select kind of just that blank B size, A size, whatever we were using. But now that I have a template, you'll notice that it has the default part here. If you don't have it, you can browse for it into your working directory. If it's not up, it's assuming that that's the one I want to draw because I just had it up. But now I want to click Use Template. And then I'm going to browse for my template into my working directory, and I'm going to pick the template. You're not going to see those formats. Those are going to be in the background. Okay. So the template I'm going to bring up is going to be you want to do the WCTC A size, not A4. A4 is an A size if you would, but it's a metric. Okay. So don't pick that one. You have to pick an A or a B here. So I'll do a 2-view template A size, and I'm going to say open. And then I'm simply going to hit OK. It should be populated here now. Okay. Now, when I go in, notice something at the bottom here. Look at my part number down in I can't zoom in right now, but down here, we'll zoom in. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. That's where it populates. That's why you have to save these as the part number. Okay. Now, you'll also notice that, kind of put my dimensions in already. So you're not going to have to pull those in separately anymore. It's just going to put them in the views where it thinks it has. That's how I set it up. I was trying to make this all kind of work for you, so it's a little bit easier. At the top here, there's information you have to add to populate the different fields in the title block. The first one it's asking for is, what is the material? I'm just going to put in steel. Okay. And make sure it's all caps. Okay. Steel. And then you're going to hit the green check mark. Then the next one is going to say, who's this drawn by? You're going to put your initials in. Okay. And then the last thing it's going to ask is going to be, what is the part name? Now we're going to put in, I'll call this disc or whatever, whatever the part name is. Okay. So now when I go down here to my title block, disc is in the part name. The part number, I never had to enter it. It pulled it from the file name. The scale is 1 to 1 because that's what it chose. And then you're also going to notice here that steel is in here and your initials. It automatically pulls the date that you actually drew it on. So you don't even have to fill that in. Okay. All right. So now let's see what we have here. So the title block is all set for you, but you're going to notice a couple things. First of all, it pulled in the 2 dimensions I used to create this model. It has the 5-inch diameter and it has the 1-inch thickness. Okay. You'll also notice that there's these little like hash marks. What those are guidelines for you to put your dimensions in place. So one of the guidelines is you want to have your dimensions to start about a 1/2 inch away from the part. So you'll notice that Creo didn't do it, but this gives you kind of a guideline here so that you're far enough away from the part and you're abiding by the rules. Additionally, then these hash marks are 0.375 apart or 3/8 inch apart, which is kind of like a guideline again for how far should you have dimensions spaced apart. So they are there for you to use as a guideline. Okay. Now you'll notice that my planes came in. So you can go up here to your little toolbar. You can turn those all off. So that helps to kind of clean things up. You're also going to notice that it's not smart enough yet. You still have to get your dimensions so that they're not on. I hate how this does this once in a while. Sometimes I can't. You have to get so that you get your gap, okay, for your dimensions. And then you also have to clean them up. So depending on the number of decimal places that you need them to be, then you have to update that. Now notice this. Notice that I have 4 decimal places on here. And if I look down to the drawing board, if I don't update those, there is no decimal place for four place decimals to have a standard tolerance. So you can't have a 4-place decimal that doesn't have a tolerance in back of it. So make sure that if you're going to leave it alone, that it corresponds to something in your title block. Okay. All right. Now you'll notice that I have these on here. In the past, we have been screenshotting at this point, right? We're not going to. We're not going to. What we're going to do is you want to save, you know, go ahead through your save process. And then we're going to go to File, Print, and you're going to go to the regular print command here. Okay. And now a new like place comes up. And you're going to notice you just want to do a preview. And now it kind of cuts it out, but all you need to hit is, I think it's format. Yeah, format. And now we see the print. Now, do you see how it's all cleaned up? Okay, now this is, as you know, I need some center lines on there and stuff like that. But right now, it's like a drawing is like, it's official. It's all cleaned up. This is what you need to save as a PDF. This is what you need to save as a PDF. You'll also see your hidden lines in here as well. In that grayed out view, they would be kind of like those gray lines. They almost looked solid, but when you would preview, they become hidden. Yes. Hold on, not a DXF. Did I say DXF? PDF I want. I'm so sorry. Yes, and we're going to do that very next. So we're going to do a file and you're going to go to print. Okay. Preview. Format. And then you're going to hit print. Whoopsie. How come it didn't format? Wait a second. Preview. There we go. Okay. Not sure why I did that. Now we're going to go to print. And now is where you're going to pick Adobe PDF. You could send it like this is where you could send it to a printer, but you're going to notice that there's an option for an Adobe PDF here. So you're printing a PDF instead of printing to a printer. All right. And it's going to grab that outside perfectly. So you don't even have to put a window around it like you used to in AutoCAD. All right. And we're just going to go to OK. And then it's going to ask you, where do you want to save it? So it's going through the same process. So we want to put it, you know, wherever you want to navigate to. So I'm probably going to go to my documents. I want to go to my working directory and I'm going to put it in Creo, WCTC Creo, and it's going to save it there for me. That's the file then. Make sure you know where it goes. That's the file I want you to upload to the Dropbox. Okay. So no more screenshots at this point, because now we can print the PDF and then upload that. So it looks, again, like more official. It's definitely a nicer look. Any questions about that? No, I didn't have my center lines in here, and it got rid of the lines around. Yes. The title block ones? I saw steel floating by itself. Yeah, there's no like it looked like the PDF. I mean, the PDF wasn't only just saved. It wasn't full screen. I think the whole thing, but it looked like your format basically got lost. I don't know if you have it. Let's look. If that's the case, I'll be really upset. Okay. There's probably a setting. How come it did it for me? Shoots. Well, how come everything is so difficult? Yeah, because it's Creo. I know. Eric, I know. Okay, just I'll have to probably tweak that process slightly. There's probably something in the properties that I need to click or unclick. So so sit tight on that, but we will be saving them as PDFs and uploading the PDFs, not the screenshots. Okay. So so besides me having to tweak that, and I'll get an update on how to do that. Any other questions so far? Okay. All right. So then, yes, Steve.
Are we still going to be using the WCTC drawing borders?
Yes, yeah, keep using the borders. Yes, absolutely use the borders. I'll get that PDF printing. Like I said, the very end has to just be tweaked. I know. So so I'll figure that out offline here, and I'll get you guys an update on getting those saved so that the borders actually save. Okay. Other questions? All right, so that's an introduction to the process. Oops, it looks like there is a question here. Sorry, I'm late. Okay, that's okay, William. So now let's go back to module number 5. And really the next process to do is to, look at our PDF and start creating the models. Okay, start creating the models. So that's what I want you guys to work on this evening. So we have about an hour and 10 minutes to go. Tomorrow night, what we're going to focus on is in the packet that I have for you guys. I'll grab it and we'll put it underneath here. For those who are online, this is going to be something you'll want to do between now and tomorrow. But I created this packet. And the first sheet is going to be the overview of the project from the textbook. And then now each one of the sheets that are here, they are basically each one of the parts that are laid out without any dimensions on yet. Okay. So what I want you to do is start devising your plan for each one of these parts. So for instance, here's the special key up in the corner here. The dimensions that they're giving you, you can go ahead and you can model this, but then once you try to, when you get ready to do the dimensioning, instead of just jumping in and letting Creo do it and then moving the stuff around, you want to duplicate the dimensions we have here, but now you've got to apply them, in an orthographic view. Okay, so then you want to, figure out, okay, where am I going to put my different dimensions? I have my thickness here. This has limits associated with it. Then I'm going to have my outside, diameter, my inside portion, making sure that you're putting it in the right places. And this is also probably going to spur on some questions that you might have, like, is it okay if I do it like this? And that's what I'm here for. Okay. You're also going to add an isometric view on each one of these as well. I didn't put that in for these. And then you'll go to the next view. And then this will be, if you look at the title block, you'll notice that you've got some additional information about the material. So when you have the special key up and you're going to name it 25055, make sure that when the material box comes up to fill that in, that you use the material that's listed here. Okay. And then you're going to go to your next one. Here's the slide key. Here's your part number for that one. Here's the material that you're going to be adding in. And then here's the blank, 2 views. But now you want to sketch in. And I'm not saying you have to put each dimension on, but you might be like, okay, I'm going to put the overall up here. I'm going to put the thickness here. I'm going to, that kind of a thing, so that you have a little bit more of an idea rather than letting Creo kind of dump them all in place. And then this way you can be sure that you're thinking about this beforehand and then asking questions, like I said, and devising that plan. Okay. And then so on. Then you're going to go to each one of these and do that very same thing. All right. Now, the ones that are more complex are the very last ones. And these are going to be these guys. And the last 3, I do have drawing guides out there for you. But again, why not just kind of devise a little plan here, decide where you're going to put different dimensions and, where it seems to make the most sense. Put some thought into this before. Again, I think sometimes you might think, oh, Creo does it automatically. And I feel like maybe sometimes we think, oh, it must be right because Creo put it there. You're the human, you have the brain, Creo is still a machine, and you make much better decisions than Creo does, as we know. Okay. So, so this evening, like I said, we have about an hour left. That's what I want you to work on. Start making these models and devising your plans on creating the detailed drawings here. And then also, again, important. Do not call this up and create it and call it a special key. You're going to call it its part number as identified in the assignment. Okay. So make sure that you use those part numbers. So if you look here, here's the special key. The part number can be found here, but it's also going to be found in the assignment as well. I have them listed in there for you as too. Okay. Any questions at all?
For the threaded parts,
Mm-hmm.
what are we just gonna draw them as smooth plates or?
Draw them as smooth parts for right now, and then I'll show you how we're gonna do simplified callouts in the detailed drawings. And I'll kind of see, we may do some of the threads to show you how to create those. That might be a good place to do it actually in here, especially for, I think it's the Vise screw, because that's an Acme thread instead of a like a screw thread. So for right now, just draw the nominal size. So if it's for instance, a 1/4 socket head cap screw or has those threads, then just draw the nominal size. Mhm. Other questions? Good. All right. So model. That's what you get to do tonight. And then I'll be here to answer any questions that you might have as they come up. Yeah, I think we're good.